So what do you do when you first walk up to a trout stream? You've never been there before. I'm here in a river in Chile. I've never been here before. I've never fished this river. We're here with a guide, but he's off walking around looking at the river because we asked him to, because I wanted to fish this little pool here without knowing anything about it. So how do you get started? Well, first of all, you look around, make sure there's nobody else fishing there. We don't have that problem here in Chile. Then I generally like to look for a little bit of moving water, a little riffle, a little chop, at least to start. Really tough to start fishing on flat water. Hard to approach the fish. And so I like to, find a little bit of riffled water, which we have here. And then you might look for the foam line in the river. That's where the food is going to be drifting. You look for rises. We're not seeing any rises. So I'm going to go with my outfit, my rig of choice, which is a dry dropper, which is a big dry fly with a nymph hung down below it. That way I can see if the fish are going to at least take a swat at the dry fly, see if they're interested in the surface, but if they're not, they might take the nymph. And I'm just gonna work the water for a little bit. If that doesn't work, then you got a lot of options. You can try changing flies. Generally, I don't advise that right away. I think you're better off maybe just changing the depth of your nymph or changing the type of water you're fishing and stick in one spot for a while. How long do you stay there? That's really up to you. One thing you want to be careful of when fishing a new river is that trout prefer to feed in about 2 to 4 feet of water. So you don't want to wade all the way out into the middle of the river right away until you're sure there's no fish there. As long as there's a little bit of current, you start shallow and you gradually work out to the little bit deeper water, but don't ignore that water right at your feet because sometimes the trout will be feeding right in front of you. So we've moved up into this riffle. There's a few small fish taking mayflies on the surface. I know they're taking fish on nymphs, and yeah, I could put on a small dry and catch them, but sometimes you just fish what you want to fish, and I really want to fish a nymph, so I'm sticking with the big dry. I know they're not going to take it, but I'm trying a smaller nymph, and I know, again, I could go to a small dry and catch them, but sometimes you just catch them the way you want to catch them, so we'll see what happens. I caught that nice rainbow, the best rainbow we've seen feeding, doing what I wanted to do. Doesn't always work out that way. I was stubborn. I wanted to catch a fish on the nymph. I switched a couple nymphs, finally found one that worked. That's the way fishing goes. You never know. You have to play around with stuff and figure it out on your own.